It's better than Riot Fest. Like, should I turn on the air conditioning?
No.
It's a little warm in here.
Well,
and remember to talk right in the microphone.
Look at all this hot meat in my lap.
Hey! Can't keep my eyes off it. All right, so look at that. It's Jason Narducy. It's me, James Van Oslo. It's Carco and Carne at City Barbecue in Park Ridge tonight. I should mention, yeah, that's it. That's the camera.
There's a little bit of a delay. That's pretty cool.
Well, on the phone there is.
Yeah.
To the people watching, there's no delay.
Oh, okay.
I want you to hold up the mother
load. A little
load.
bit of delay in my brain because I need to eat.
We have a literal mother load on your lap, just a tin of meat. Before you hold that up, Jason.
Oh, okay.
Before we proceed, first of all, you're ready to do this, right?
I might eat a little bit.
I want to acknowledge C&H Financial Services. Business owners, are you tired of your hard-earned profits going toward paying expensive fees every time your customer pays with a credit or debit card? We're happy to announce that our partners at C&H Financial Services have the solution. C&H is the fastest growing financial services company in Illinois, as recognized by Inc. Magazine. Inc. Magazine, Jason Narducy.
C&H for all you investors.
And their patented technology allows you to eliminate 100% of the fees associated with accepting credit and debit cards as a form of payment. That's right, Jason. 100% of the fees. 100%.
Undeniable.
Undeniable. That's what I'm saying.
Can I tell you, are you still doing the thing?
Still doing the thing.
Okay, go ahead.
All right. Where was I? That's right, Jason. 100% of the fees. C&H will also upgrade your business to the industry's leading point-of-sale system to streamline every aspect of your business for no cost. No cost, Jason Narducy.
I know what that means.
Yeah. Visit freeprocessingnow.com or call 855-600-2437, extension 999, and start saving money today. Thank you, C&H, for being part of Carco and Carne. That right there is Jason Narducy. You may know him from any number of things. You may know him from Split Single. You may know him as the bass guitarist for Bob Mould's band. You may know him from Superchunk. You may know him from playing with Robert Pollard. You may know him from just being a music industry gadfly. Thank you for joining me.
I am thrilled to be here. Can I tell you, this car reminds me of my grandmother's car.
Why is that?
I don't mean that as an insult. She was actually very well respected and renowned drug dealer in Chicago. And this was the type of car that she would do her deals, and she had everything: painkillers, Oxycontin, heroin. Almost identical car.
Yeah, I'm only selling weed out of this.
Well, you can build up to a higher level thing, but so when are we starting the?
No, it's going on. This is a real thing. This is happening.
Okay.
Yeah. Show them what you got. We got the mother load. So I want to thank our friends at City Barbecue.
There are many family members that are going to be upset with me right now.
Well, they've heard worse out of your mouth.
And a lot of the rival families.
Nothing but trouble in Park Ridge.
Can we show the mother? It wasn't my grandmother.
Can we show the mother load? So we're at City Barbecue. I want to thank City Barbecue in Park Ridge.
Thank you, City Barbecue in Park Ridge.
On Northwest Highway, just north of Toohey Avenue. You can see they've got the giant, like almost industrial-sized smokers right on the side of the building when you walk up to the door. We got the mother load, which includes everything. We've got hush puppies, we've got ribs, we've got a quarter chicken in there, we've got pulled pork. You've already had the pulled pork, haven't you?
I've had it all. We should get some more for you.
I haven't had any food yet, but I want to catch up. I can't remember. Was the last time I talked to you when I was on WGN? Has it been that long?
That could be. What year would that have been?
God, maybe 2013, 2014. I don't even remember it must have been a split single interview.
Probably.
But it's been a while.
I bet it was incredible.
Oh my God, it was so good.
Yeah.
That's why I'm no longer on WGN. Do you remember the first time we met? I do, but I'm sure you don't.
I'm guessing it was a Q101 local thing.
It was a Q101 local thing. Now, see, there's no way you would remember this. I was an intern on what was then called the Local Music Showcase on Q101, and you came on with your band On.
Yeah.
And I was an intern, and I remember you performing. I remember you leaving a cassette behind, and that's when we first met. And there's no way you'd remember me because no one ever remembers the interns. But that was our first.
Was it Carla Leonardo?
Yeah.
Carla Leonardo.
So this was pre.
R.I.P.
R.I.P. Yeah, for sure. So this was pre Jason and Allison.
Wow. Oh, so that was my band On?
Yeah.
With Zach Cantor and Eddie Carlson.
Yes.
Wow.
So that's when we first
90...
met. It's probably 94, 93, 94.
No, that band broke up in 92.
No.
93.
No way. Yeah, it was 93.
Yeah, it broke up in 93.
So that was our first encounter.
Wow. Love it.
And then,
well,
of
this
course,
is great. Are you hungry?
I'm hungry. You don't want to talk about any of that. There is no past. There's only the future.
93. I must have been 10.
That's well. Let's jump around a little bit. All right, first of all, the last time I actually saw you, but you didn't see me, was at Riot Fest. This is a hush puppy, by the way. Thank you, City Barbecue in Park Ridge. Nice job, the Bob Mould Band performing at Riot Fest. It was so much fun.
You know what was special about that day for me? My son, who's just turned 15, likes the rock music, and that Sunday that we were playing was a killer lineup. And I saw that at 1 o'clock Nick Lowe was playing.
Right.
So I brought my son at noon to Riot Fest. We put our stuff in the Bob Mould dressing room. No one was there yet. By 12:30, we're starting to walk towards the Nick Lowe stage. Please dive in.
I will.
And we walked
Hot
past...
link. Thank you, City Barbecue.
We walked past Guided by Voices dressing room, and I said, "Hold on, Sean." My son's name is Sean. I knock on the door. The door opens. They're all in there. It's 12:30. What are they doing? Guided by Voices. Drinking beer. So I introduced them to Sean, and hugs and catch up with those guys, and then Bob Pollard says, "Well, we're heading over to see Nick Lowe." I said, "We are too." So we all walked over and watched Nick Lowe. It was great. And then after, like 2 hours later, I walk out of our dressing room, and it's just Nick Lowe walking towards me. And I put my hand out, and I said, "Mr. Lowe, thank you for coming to Chicago. That was an amazing set."
You'd never met him before.
No. And I said, "Can I tell you the first time I saw you play?" And he said, "Yeah." I said, "It was February 13th, 1982, the Rosemont Horizon opening up for the Cars."
Stop it. You remember the date?
Well, I looked that up later.
Okay.
I did remember it was 82.
Okay.
And he goes, "Those were the days."
And he was there with Los Straitjackets.
Yeah, they were great.
So cool.
And there was 2 of them with them, actually, and I didn't recognize them because they didn't have their masks on, which I pointed out. But then, sadly, 5 hours after that little conversation, it was announced that Rick Ocasek had passed away. Very sad. But it did make me go back to those first 3 Cars records, which I love so much. The second one, Candio, being my favorite.
Was that the second one? No.
The Cars, Candio, Panorama.
I thought Panorama came before Candio.
Third.
I do love Panorama. The title track.
It's a weird one.
The title track's like a Cure song that never happened.
Yeah. They were going super new wave on that one. The lyrics are pretty bad on Panorama.
Yeah.
Like, I love that record.
I love Touch and Go.
Touch and Go's great.
Oh my God.
Don't Tell Me No.
Oh my God, that's such a great song.
But then the songs on side 2 that I really liked, I listen now and I'm like, they needed to... Of course, what am I talking about? Those guys, when you think about the Cars, Van Halen, all those bands in the late 70s, they would crank out a record a year.
Right.
While touring the world. That's insane.
It's insane.
But that's also why their records are 28 minutes long.
I was about to say, like, those Van Halen albums barely cracked a half hour.
I think Diver Down is 22 minutes.
Exactly. So, watching you with the Bob Mould Band, you've been with Bob for a long time now. You're on his albums. I remember, we're of similar ages. I mean, we're both
incredible, by the way.
I'll have some. We're both 30. I remember 1989, the Workbook album.
Yeah.
For me, on a personal level, that was such a watershed album.
Yeah.
I know it was for you too. What's it like? I know you've worked with Bob forever. He produced you with Verbow, but what's it like being able to play those songs on stage with Bob?
It's insane. That record meant so much to me that when that band that we were talking about before, that I had in 1993, when they broke up, I booked 2 shows, one at the Beat Kitchen and one at Morrisland, which doesn't exist anymore, where I would play Workbook all the way through.
Sunspots and Wishing Well.
I learned it all.
Wow.
Open tunings, 4th fret capo, everything. I was a little obsessed.
Yeah, a little bit.
Yeah. And I think, it's healthy to love the music of the band you're in.
Absolutely. I will say, Bob Mould is not aging gracefully. He's going to rage to his grave.
He does it well.
He does. I mean, he still rocks the fuck out.
You know another funny story about that Riot Fest show? We don't practice.
Stop it.
No, we don't. And so Bob...
But you're just saying that.
I'm not.
Every band practices.
Let's see. I can probably tell you how many times we practiced. John joined the group in 2008. So that's 11 years. We've practiced 6 times. And every time we practice, we get 4 songs in, and Bob goes, "Why are we doing this?" And I go, "We don't. We don't do this."
Even like the newer stuff, when you do new albums, don't you want to...
We just get in the studio and start playing.
Wow. That's rock and roll.
But one of the funny things about... And I think part of that is because John and I grew up on his music, so it's like a language that we studied since we were kids.
Going for a rib. Thank you, City Barbecue.
So
Park
good.
Ridge.
This is so good.
The brisket is... The bark on the outside...
Yeah.
It's so delicious. All right, sorry, go ahead.
Sweet. So John Worster, our drummer, Bob's drummer, is also in the Mountain Goats, and they were on tour. And so John was texting with me and Bob saying, "Hey, do we have a set list?" For a while, for weeks. And Bob was like, yeah, I'll come up with something. And he didn't until Sunday morning, the morning of the show.
And that's high pressure for you.
Well, I mean...
Well, if he pulls out, like if he decides, I want to play this deep cut of Zen Arcade.
He rarely does that.
Okay.
And if he does it, he just does it on stage, so we're fucked anyways. Can I swear? Okay. So he gets the set list on Sunday morning to us, and then we finally are all in the dressing room, and we just wrote it out and kind of walked through it, talking through, and we did change some of the arrangements and stuff. But the first song on the set list was a song called "The War," which is from one of his more recent records called Beauty and Ruin, which we recorded here in Chicago. And we get up on stage, crowd greets us, and Bob starts a song that's not on the set list. And John and I are just doubled over laughing because we're like, what?
He's just flat out fucking with
Actually, Bob saw the look in our eyes, and then he like shot down at the set list and noticed it and just goes, "Roll with it." And then we finished that song, and I just looked at Bob. I'm like, I don't know what you're doing now. So, and he goes, "Your choice." So I started "A Good Idea" by Sugar,
which is such a great song.
Such
First
a good
album.
song.
Oh my god.
And the only song I start. So, if it's going to be my choice, that's what we're going with.
Again, I want to thank City Barbecue. These ribs are so
Everything.
flavorful.
The turkey. I mean, come on.
And we can it's okay if I put my fork where your fork's been. We're sharing, right?
Is that a euphemism?
We go way back. Like we can share this tin, right? Even though it's on your lap.
We are our friendship is at tin shareable level.
That's serious.
Yeah.
So, since last we spoke, I mean, I've interviewed you a bunch of times through the years, mostly during the Verbow days. But since last we spoke, the mythology of Verboten has grown to something epic.
Well, I don't know about that.
Well, I don't know. Back in the day, I don't think I ever even mentioned Verboten.
Right. Yeah.
But now it's like what people lead with. So, help me out. Watching the past couple Foo Fighters shows at Wrigley Field, Dave Grohl comes out. He talks about how going to Naked Raygun and Cubby Bear changed his life.
Yeah.
I mean, it's the same speech every time he's on stage. He said it on Sonic Highways. That was a show that Verboten, you as a prepubescent kid, opened up for?
No, but Tracy, our singer, took him.
Okay.
So the full story is, at age 10, I got my first guitar, and I lived in Evanston. My dad lived in Evanston. My mom lived on the south side. And I met some local kids in Evanston that were musicians, and we formed a band. We called it Verboten. And it just so happened that our singer, Tracy, is cousins with Dave Grohl.
Got it.
Now, in 1983, Dave Grohl is 13 and I'm 11. So it's just another kid that you meet. I mean, it wasn't that big a deal to any of us, you know. But Tracy loved punk rock. We all love punk rock. And so we sort of introduced Dave to punk rock. He had not been exposed to that style of music before. And that's it. But then he became one of the biggest rock stars in the world. And when I should back up a little bit. In 2009, a guy in Chicago named Joe Lacerdo made a documentary about Chicago punk rock called You Weren't There. And he included Verboten, and he interviewed me. Dave Grohl saw that. So when Dave was making his Chicago episode of Sonic Highways, I think he thought, let me talk to Joe. And then he was already in touch with Tracy and I. And it was like, hey, will you do this interview? And can we use footage and all this stuff? So the Sonic Highways Chicago episode came out, and that's when I got approached by a guy named Brett Neveu, who's a playwright and a professor at Northwestern. we had mutual friends, and he kind of went through friends and said, can I take you out for a beer? I have this idea. And he said, I'd like to write a play.
And the answer to that's always yes.
A beer, yes.
Yeah.
But the idea rarely is a yes. And he said, I want to write a play about Verboten. And I said, well, that's a great idea. I have 2 ideas for you. Number 1, don't cast kids. And number 2, don't try to tell people what punk rock was like in 1983. Because
very reasonable request.
Every television commercial tries to do that, and it doesn't work. And the thing about kids isn't a diss on kids. It's about being able to carry a play from an acting standpoint. There are kids now that could play circles around what we were doing back then. But
for sure.
As far as like acting, I just thought it would be better if it was 21-year-olds who looked like they're 15, and that's what they ended up doing. So 5 years later, and many different scripts, and they asked me to write the music. So I wrote the music to this Verboten musical that's coming out January.
Are these
26th.
songs that you played as a kid?
No, I rewrote everything.
Good, okay.
We might use one original Verboten song. But it turns out 48-year-old Jason's a better songwriter than 11-year-old Jason.
Go figure.
Yeah. So it opens January 26th at Chopin Theater, a 6-week run, and I'm so excited.
So you've been watching the rehearsals, I've
been to some of the auditions. We started a process where the musical director and I meet with the cast to just learn songs before the rehearsals start. And we're actually doing a rock show. The cast is doing a rock show. I'm going to play some songs with them at Space on December 9th, which is just us kind of like learning the songs and playing them out on a Monday night. And then they start the rehearsals for December and January.
I like how you do keep everything kind of centralized to Evanston. It's kind of a stretch that you're in Park Ridge tonight.
This was a straight shot on Oakton.
But you're at, were you playing on the 8th or is it the 9th?
December 9th at Space.
But you're doing a solo gig in Evanston, right?
Yeah, November 9th at the Wine Goddess.
There, okay.
Yeah.
You got a lot going on.
A lot going on.
And it all happens in Evanston.
Well, those two, the play...
You'll be on the Purple Line platform in January.
The play is in Chicago.
Right.
Yeah.
Is it weird to kind of go back and think about the stuff you did as a tiny kid?
Yeah, and it's also weird. I mean, the play is... The way that Brett did it, and I'm glad he did this, was he created fictitious characters based on real events. So there's a Jason character, there's a Zach character, there's a Chris character, there's a Tracy character, but all the other family members are like very loose interpretations of... And the idea is to capture the spirit of the band, but also make it a good piece of entertainment, So, but one of the more fascinating things about the process for me is when they started auditioning people, the director would be giving them feedback in between, their performances, and I was learning about my childhood through that. Because, for instance, they were auditioning actors for Tracy's parents, and the director was like, I sense from the script that, Tracy's adopted, Tracy's parents don't totally understand her, but they love her unconditionally, and that love allows her to be supportive to the other members in the band. And then that was just like feedback for them to do another version, and I'm just sitting there going, oh my God, I'm learning about this thing in my childhood.
It's totally surreal.
Yeah, it's really, really wild.
Wow.
Yeah.
All right, I do want to say one more time, this food, I need to get my hands on that chicken.
Go for it.
I don't even know how to approach it.
I was cutting. I think you could cut. Right?
Yeah, that seems to be the best course.
While you do that, I'm going to do the rib.
Did you make the pulled pork disappear?
No, it's all the way here in the corner.
All right, I'm going to... I think I sacrificed my knife along the way.
There's another one.
Yes. The ribs are great, right?
Amazing. This is all amazing.
This whole area of Park Ridge, totally different. Like this whole stretch.
I don't recognize it at all.
Right. It's all like new
retail. It looks like a parking lot.
Yeah. All right, hang on. I'm going to grab this chicken somehow.
Mm-hmm.
And just that smoky flavor is so fantastic. There we go. Chicken from City BBQ.
Yeah.
And the great thing about doing this podcast, Jason, people will pull up in their cars, they'll see us talking on the microphone, they'll just look the other way. Like, no one's fazed by anything we do.
Where should I put? I'm going to put this little piece up here. It's something that I don't want to go back into the food tray.
You need to maintain the purity.
Piece of bone. Yeah.
Hush puppy here. So, all right, where are we at? You're leaving to go on tour with Superchunk again. Where are things at with Split Single, which is basically your solo thing made manifest with band friends?
Yeah, Split Single is a solo project with a band name. It's been an amazing project for me because I get to write songs and play guitar and then ask friends to play on the records and at the shows. And with this, we're working on the third record. It's John Worster on drums. He plays with me and Bob Mould and Superchunk. And Mike Mills from REM.
Stop it!
Yeah. You want to hear about the time I met Mike Mills for the first time?
You're saying this as I'm going through an REM renaissance. Like
Well, they're doing all these great reissues.
Yes, but
The Monster reissue just came out.
oh, I did know that. I'm going through this period where I am going back into every REM album. Murmur, Reckoning, Document, Fables of the Reconstruction, Life's Rich Passion. Oh my God, Begin to Begin. Like, my appreciation for what Mike Mills did is through the roof. And the fact that you're playing with him, holy shit.
I was obviously thrilled that he said yes. For me, REM and Cheap Trick are the two most important American rock bands.
I keep waiting for the world to come back around on REM. Because you listen to those albums, especially the stuff in the 1980s. They did a lot of, they took a lot of artistic diversions through the 90s and certainly through the early 21st century. But those 80s albums are so essential. All right, sorry. So Mike Mills.
Yeah, I agree. The first show I played with Bob Pollard in 2006 was in Athens, Georgia. And you know, what is Guided by Voices known for? Drinking beer and playing 3-hour shows. So
Which is what, 200 songs?
57. So I walk out on stage at the 40 Watt Club in Athens, Georgia, and I looked down at my set list and I saw 57 songs. And I was nervous, so I didn't recognize half of them. I had kind of that like imposter syndrome where I'm like, I'm not a bassist. What am I doing with a bass on? We hadn't started the show, full house, and I look up and at the bar you can see his head clearly silhouetted as Mike Mills from REM. I was like, I do not need that right now. Thankfully the show went great. And afterwards John Worster introduced me to Mike Mills, and he's a lovely, lovely man. So, you know, throughout the years I've run into him, or I've opened up for his band, the Baseball Project, and we've hung out. I'm not close with him, but you know, we get along. And then it was getting time to make another Split Single record, and I just, I went for the fences. Yeah. He said yes, and he was so awesome about it too, because I sent him the demos, and he wrote to me, do you want me to play the bass part that's on the demos, or you want me to come up with a new part? And I played bass on the demos. And I just wrote back in all caps, oh my God, do your thing. And he wrote back, well, I don't want to step on any toes.
Oh my God.
And I just wrote back, again, all caps, crush my fucking toes.
Yes, step away.
And of course, the parts are fantastic. And we had so much fun. We did it really quickly. I try not to spend too much time on the Split Single. Like, I don't want it to be a tedious process. I want it to be a fun, so we do it in like
Have you always approached music like that? Or is that something you picked up from Mould?
Oh, Bob's not quick like that.
As a producer, he's not. Okay.
Yeah. I mean, back in the day with Huskers, they would record quickly, but he's detail oriented, which I love. And we did that on the first Split Single record, actually. Not the basic tracks, but the overdubs and the mixing took a long time. So I can go either way. I think it's cool getting all the way in there and making it perfect, and then I like it being scrappy too.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm very fortunate. I mean, I really like. I was recording today actually with Matt Allison up in Lake Bluff.
Sure.
And I'm playing over John Worster and Mike Mills. Everything sounds
not
awesome.
a bad day at the office for Jason Narducy.
Even when I mess up, I'm like, it still sounds awesome.
So, do you have a target to get that into?
I'm shooting for May.
Okay.
Yeah.
That's exciting.
With the musical, I suspect it'll take longer, but I'm shooting for May.
And I hope if you're listening to the podcast and if you're watching, you get a sense for you're such a Midwestern dude. Always working, like not complacent just to hang out. You're going on the road with Superchunk. You just got done with Bob Mould. You've got the split single recordings happening. You've got the Verboten musical starting in 2020. I mean, that's a lot of irons and a whole lot of fires.
Yeah, I remember about 7 years ago, I felt overwhelmed with everything I was doing. And I said to my wife, I need to remove something because I'm losing it. And she goes, you're just going to fill it with something else?
Sure.
And she's right.
But see, and maybe I'm just...
You think I can discard this up here?
Yeah, just keep it away from the fries. But I think there's something very Midwestern. It's a very Midwestern work ethic about all that.
Yeah, I can see that, yeah. The Cheap Trick guys played 200 shows a year.
Yeah.
They're like in their 60s, you know.
And yet you played with Bun E.
I'm on Bun's solo record for 2 songs with Pollard. And but that's the only time I've spent any time with them was that one day in the studio.
What did that feel like? I mean,
as
you mentioned, Cheap Trick and REM are those 2 seminal United States American bands. And what was it like?
Well, there's a bit of a rift between Bun and Cheap Trick, and I don't really know Bun, but I do know Dax and Rick, and so I actually asked the Nielsen's for permission. I didn't want it to be weird, and they were like, "Oh, absolutely." They said, "Go have fun." But while I was there, I got to say I had my walls up a little bit. Not being standoffish or anything, but just I don't know, just felt like I needed to be careful about it. Until we got to lunch and Bun started talking about recording with John Lennon, and then I just fell.
All bets are off. Yeah,
I was just like, "Oh my God, tell me everything."
Right.
Yeah. But no, Rick and Dax are like, very, very friendly to me and my family, and good friends.
The remarkable thing, if you are watching on Facebook Live or YouTube, Jason has not aged since last we spoke.
Stop.
No, I'm looking at you. You look like you're 35 years old.
Well, a little bit of hair dye and
is that what it is?
Some filter.
So, that's right. I'm using all the filters right now. I'm going to make us look like puppies. The ears and noses on. All right. So looking ahead, we have the show at Space in Evanston, a lovely bucolic suburb north of Chicago, and what a great room.
Incredible.
I haven't been there since maybe April when I saw Hitchcock there, who was phenomenal. We can see you at Space in December. Split single album next year. You're on the road with Superchunk. When do things kick back up with Bob Mould?
Don't know. He's doing a ton of solo touring right now. Superchunk goes to the East Coast this week for acoustic shows. They did a really cool thing with their 25th anniversary of their record Foolish. They did an acoustic version with like strings and saxophone, and it's really well done. I'm not on the record because I'm the touring bassist for Superchunk. Laura is still in the band. But we do these live interpretations of that, which are really fun and low impact rock.
Yeah, for sure.
I remember we were talking, I was on the road with Superchunk and we were talking about doing these acoustic dates, and I texted my wife and I said, I think we're going to do some more acoustic shows. And she said, what do you do for acoustic shows? And I said, same thing, I just sit down.
Right.
And she goes, so not really acoustic. And I'm like, yeah, you kind of got me there. But we're doing New York, Boston, Philly, Durham, not in that order, DC, I think.
So it's remarkable that I actually got you in the car tonight, just based on the schedule you're keeping.
I learned the songs already. I'll brush up on them before I leave, but I think I got it.
All right, so we can see you at Space soon. And will you be making appearances at the Verboten musical?
There is actually going to be many Verboten original members there. Maybe all of them.
Interesting.
Yeah.
I can't wait. This is really fun.
Yeah.
What a fascinating dude. It's Jason Narducy. Thank you for doing this.
This was a blast. I'm going to eat for another 30 minutes.
Oh, yeah, I'm trying to wrap up the interview so that we can totally make fools of ourselves with this food.
Thanks for having me, James. It's great to see you again.
Likewise. I want to thank our friends at City Barbecue in Park Ridge for providing us with the Motherload. I also want to thank C&H Financial Services, a brand new sponsor on Car Con Carne. If you're interested in sponsoring the show, being part of it, reach out to me. I love having partners. I love sharing what we do here in the car on YouTube, on Facebook, on the World Wide Web. The World Wide Web is a fascinating place.
www.
Yes, so much opportunity out there. C&H Financial Services. Thank you for watching. Thank you for listening. Thank you, Jason.
Thank you.
I'm going to turn this off now. Nope, that's not right.